Hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Come to you from the downstairs bookshelves. Going to do another bookshelf tour. I initially wasn't going to go through my fiction books, but I had a request from Kelly Kroger that I go through my shelves with the fiction. So thought I would show off my collection of, I got a couple shelves here of fiction books, and so I thought I'd share those with you. So let's go ahead and go through the shelf. So the first book on this shelf is the original illustrated Sherlock Holmes. It's 37 short stories and a complete novel from the Strand magazine by Arthur Conan Doyle, with all 356 original illustrations by Sidney Paget. And so I don't remember when I picked this up. I picked it up, it was quite a while back. I'd gotten it marked down at the bookstore. And I thought it'd be a neat read. It's something that I never did come back and read yet, but I see that a lot of you are starting to go through and talk about these, so it might be something I pick up here pretty soon. Let's see here. This is from Castle Books, and this particular copy was printed in, let's see. Oh, goodness. I see all the old publishing dates, but I don't see a new publishing date. Sorry about that. I don't see a new publishing date on it. But anyway, again, I've been wanting to get to this and read this, and I might have a reason now since everybody's been going to Sherlock Holmes. Next book on the shelf is Roughing It by Mark Twain, and this is a Reader's Digest copy. It's kind of neat. It's kind of a leathery feel. And again, haven't read this one either. This is from, like I said, the Reader's Digest, Pleasantville, New York, and it was printed in, looks like 1994. And next three books on the shelf are by the same author, Edward Rutherford. Now, this particular one, this one's New York, the novel. This one I have read. It's very, very good. I enjoyed reading this very much. It basically takes one or two or three families. I can't remember exactly how many families, but it takes a couple different families and goes through the history of New York from coming over as immigrants, starting out as a Dutch colony, and then all the way through the colonial period and the Revolution, and takes it through the Civil War, through the Gilded Age, and all the way up to the 1990s with the World Trade Center getting attacked. So anyway, it encompasses the whole spectrum of time, and I thought Edward Rutherford did a magnificent job with this book. This is a, let's see, Ballantine Books trade paperbacks out of New York, and it is from 2009. And that's definitely one I'm going to come back to and reread. Now these next two are done very similar, except for there are two other major areas. So this is Ruska, the Novel of Russia by Edward Rutherford. He also did this book Serum, which I had at one time, and I honestly have no idea what I did with it. I don't know if it got taken out of the collection or not. I'd have to look. But this is from Crown Publishers Incorporated out of New York, and it's from 1991 is the year. And it looks like it centers around the development of Moscow and the surrounding cities. See, there's a map there on the inside. Have not read it yet. I look forward to that. The next one is by Edward Rutherford also, and it's London, the novel. And of course, this is all about the development of London, and it went clear back to, before London was even a city. And I'd started this, but I didn't get real, well, there you go. I got 20 pages in. I didn't get real far. It's one I'm going to come back to one of these days. It's from Crown Publishers Incorporated, New York. It's a 1997, but it's really cool. It's got some cool maps to go along with the fictional story. It's got, as the city developed, it's got more maps to show that development, and as he carries his characters through. more maps, and then he also gives, this is really neat because he gives family trees so that as you're going through time, going through these different families, you could kind of follow along on what he's, you know, which family, who's married to who had what kids, and that kind of stuff. That makes it very, very helpful. I love historical novels that include the family trees. All right, the next two books are from Charles Frazier. This is Cold Mountain, a novel, and this was, of course, made into a movie. I believe it was Jude Law and Nicole Kidman were in it, and very good it takes place around the Civil War. I believe it's North Carolina. Well, some pretty cool end papers there. But this is an Atlantic Monthly Press out of New York, 1997. I have read this one. I've listened to it on audiobook, and I've watched the movie. I loved all three. I thought it was a very, very good story. Kind of a sad story. I mean, it's happy and sad at the same time. And then the next one I had showed in a previous video. I don't remember how far back, but I'd picked this one up here of late, and it is Verena. And it's another one based around the Civil War time period. And I believe it talks about Verena Howe, who would become the wife of Jefferson Davis. And I can't tell you much about that one. Like I said, I haven't read it yet, but I look forward to it. So this is from HarperCollins Publishers, and it is 2018. So it's a fairly new novel. Now, a lot of these next books are all from Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton is my favorite science. I don't read science fiction, so he's almost the only science fiction I've ever read. And I don't know if you would include all of his books as science fiction. I do, or most of them anyway. It might be just general fiction. I don't know. But and I said most of them, so this one does not count. But this is The Great Train Robbery. And this is supposed to be one of his better books. Now, I tried reading this, and I have not been able to get through it. This is one of the only Michael Crichton books that I did not enjoy, and maybe I just need to come back to it. Maybe it was my frame of mind when I tried to read it. Let's see. This is from Alfred A. Knopf out of New York, and it's 1975. 1975. And I've got a couple copies of this in here, but that is one of the only two books that I couldn't get through. And here's the other one, Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton. And this one's talking about the Norsemen. And I tried to get through it, and I just couldn't. I don't know what my deal was. It's another one I'll end up coming back to because I love Michael Crichton's stuff. So this is Eaters of the Dead, the manuscript of Ibn Fadlan. Hopefully I'm saying that right, relating his experiences with the Northmen in AD 922. So again, Alfred A. Knopf, New York, 1976. Now, all the rest of these I have actually read. These, other than those two, I've read all of these other books by Michael Crichton and the other couple that are not. Well, the exception of those two, but we'll get to that. So this is Airframe by Michael Crichton. And let's see, 3 passengers are dead, 56 are injured, the interior cabin virtually destroyed, but the pilot manages to land the plane. At a moment when the issue of safety and death in the skies is paramount in the public mind, a lethal mid-air disaster aboard a commercial twin-jet airliner bound from Hong Kong to Denver triggers a pressured and frantic investigation. Airframe is the non-stop reading, the extraordinary mixture of super suspense and authentic information on a subject of compelling interest that has been a Crichton hallmark since the Adronoma strain. And anyway, I remember this being a good book. It is, let's see, like I said, Alfred A. Knopf, New York, and it's from 1996. 1996. I went through a streak there where I read almost all of his books, all of the recent ones. He's got a lot of old medical novels that I have not read, but all of the more recent science fiction type I have read, and I enjoyed them. This one is Disclosure, and this was also made into a movie. You might remember this being, it had Demi Moore and Demi Moore and Michael, and I can't remember his last name, but anyway, it was a good book. Alfred A. Knopf, New York, 1994. And it's about a female boss who takes advantage of the male underling, and then some accusations, and without spoiling the whole book, it's a good one. It's a good one. Here's a collection of 3 novels from Michael Crichton. It's got Congo, Sphere, and Eaters of the Dead. All right, and that's kind of a neat book. This is one that I picked up at, it was like Barnes & Noble or something like that. And it was marked down. That was when I was the very beginning of me starting to build my collection. It's from Wings Books out of New York, and 1980. Nope, those are the 3. When did this one get printed? Doesn't have a print date for this particular version. As for the 3 individual books, but anyway. Good book, good books. All right, this is Michael. I don't have a dust jacket for this one, but Michael Crichton, the Lost World. So this is like the sequel to Jurassic Park. I enjoyed this. Alfred A. Knopf, New York, 1995. And, of course, they made, the whole series of movies, Jurassic Park. You guys are all familiar with those. Those were very popular. Still are very popular. This one by Michael Crichton and Richard Preston. It's Micro, a novel. This was a very interesting book. There's Crichton. And Michael Crichton passed away, and I can't remember if he had died before this one and the Richard Preston took over. I can't remember. Or they may have just co-wrote this one. I can't. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. At the time of his death in 2008, Crichton was well into the writing of Micro. So this book here, Richard Preston was selected to complete the novel. So this was originally started by Michael Crichton, finished by Preston. This is a HarperCollins book, and it was printed in 2011, and that was a very, very good book. I think this is the one that was based in Hawaii, and it was about a company who was making nanotechnology, like these little microbots, and it was really cool. And that's the thing about Michael Crichton's science fiction stuff, is it's not like way out of this world. It's stuff that when you read it, you get to thinking, this could probably actually happen. And so it definitely makes you think twice about stuff. All right, so we've got a stack of paperbacks here. This is State of Fear. Okay. And remember this one being good. It was, let's see, this is a Avon Books from HarperCollins, and it is 2004. And I bought this when I bought several of these hardbacks marked down at the bookstore, and then when I got to reading them, I really liked them, and so then I started at the time buying all of his paperbacks when they came out, or when I saw them. The next one is a John Jakes book, American Dreams. Very, very good book. This is the sequel to Homeland, and Homeland's like a big, thick monster of a book, but it's all about a German immigrant who comes over in 1892, I think is what the year, 1892, 1893, something like that. He came to America in the first book, and has to get over his uncle's a beer brewer in Chicago, and he's trying to find his way. And then in this, it just picks up the story, and he gets into photography and in the movie business, and he goes and films some war footage. Gets some war footage. It's a wonderful story. It was great. I know at one time he was, I didn't look. This is, hang on just a second. This is it's a Signet book out of New York, and it is from the year 1998. I know at one time I read on on John Jakes' website at one time, and I haven't been able to find this since then, but he was going to make a third book and bring it all the way into the present and turn that into a trilogy. I was really looking forward to that. I was excited, and it just kind of, I don't know if it petered out or what happened, but haven't seen it yet. So back to Michael Crichton, we've got the ever famous Jurassic Park, wonderful, wonderful story. He goes into just such detail. It makes you feel like you're on the island off the coast of, I think it was Costa Rica, Central America to be sure. And it makes you feel like you're walking right beside the dinosaurs and running from the dinosaurs. It was just good story. Ballantine Books out of New York, and it's from 1990. And he gives just enough detail in these to, with the genetic stuff to make you think, I wonder if you really could do that. So anyway, really neat book. Here is Michael Crichton's Timeline, also made into a movie. That was a really good book. He goes back in time to the Middle Ages, and he has to try to get back, and he's stuck back in the Middle Ages. Or excuse me, the main character has to go get somebody from, is it a family member? I can't remember if it's a family member. Anyway, he has to go get somebody from the Middle Ages, and then they all get stuck, and they're worried about trying to get back to the present time. It's really good. It's Ballantine Books out of New York, and it is 1999. And I liked the movie. I don't know that everybody liked the movie, but I also liked the movie. Now, these next two are from Newt Gingrich and William Forstchen. And I don't have the third book. There's another book that goes with this, and I got to get that so that I can read these two. I don't like reading 2 out of 3. I like reading the entire thing. So I've got Gettysburg by Newt Gingrich, and then I've got Never Call Retreat by Newt Gingrich. And this was a trilogy. And he also made a trilogy over the American Revolution that I really want to get. I had an opportunity to get the hardbacks of those for a dirt cheap price, and I did not do it, and I should have. But anyway, Never Call Retreat is St. Martin's paperbacks, and it is from 2005. And then the Gettysburg is also St. Martin's paperbacks, and it's from 2003. There is the paperback version of Michael Crichton's The Great Train Robbery. Again, I need to try to read it. And it is from Avon Books, HarperCollins Publishers, out of New York, 2004, this edition is. I've got Michael Crichton's The Adronymous Strain. Excellent, excellent book. This was a fun one. And it is Avon Books, HarperCollins, and let's see. It's actually originally an older one. 1969 was the original copyright date, I think, if I'm reading this right. And then this one is from 2006. So, of course, they went back and reprinted all these paperbacks. That's why you got these newer versions. Here is excuse me, his book Rising Sun. It's about a murder, and it's a Japanese company. Let's see here, dealing with on the 45th floor of the Nakamoto Tower in downtown LA, the new American headquarters of the immense Japanese conglomerate. A grand opening celebrations in full swing. On the 46th floor, in an empty conference room, the dead body of a beautiful young woman is discovered, and then so on and so forth. But it was a really good book, and if I can find the page, sorry about that. It is Ballantine Books out of New York, 1992. Very good read. Last couple books here. This is a newer one that came out of his, and it's called Prey. Again, a newer paperback. This has been right before he passed away. It's from Avon Books, HarperCollins Publishers. This is 2006. 2006. So it's right before he died, a couple years before he died. another good story. And then, if you're a baseball fan, where would you be without having a price guide? Now, mine's dated 2008, Beckett Books. I like my baseball cards. Need to get a new price guide, though. And then here is the book, Where the Heart Is, Billy Letts. And this is the Oprah Book Club edition. I absolutely love this movie. It's a chick flick, I know, but I thought it was good. From Warner Books. It's from the year 1996, I think. Yeah, 1998. This one's 1998. But I love the movie. I have to admit I have not read the book. I need to go back and read it. But anyway, that is my collection of fiction on this shelf. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll continue to do the other fiction shelves for you. And yeah, let me know what you think. Until next time, BookTube, have a great day.